Hi everyone, Velvet here, and I have some stories for you today. But before we get started, can you please do me a huge favor and like, comment, and subscribe? It'll help the channel out and it'll get you more videos like this. Let's get to it. And our first one comes from Opposite Tier 1151. Am I the beehole for leaving dinner because my sister was late? Again. I, a 27-year-old female, had plans to go out to dinner with my sister, a 30-year-old female. As we do every month, she lives in my hometown, and I live the next state over with my boyfriend. We're about 35 minutes to an hour apart, depending on traffic. We agreed to meet closer to hometown with my mom. One thing about her, she is always late. I expect she'll be at least 30 minutes late, but it's been up to a few hours. Wow, a few hours. 30 minutes is too much. And not just random plans, weddings and graduations too. It's been brought up in the past by my mom and she always brushes it off and gets upset. My boyfriend drove me over. I can't drive, and he offered to drop me before he had to head out for plans of his own, near home, and come back when he was done. I assumed after dinner we would just hang out at her house, either way. Get to the place and start calling my sister. She usually doesn't say if she's gonna be late, but my mom is with her, she does. I hadn't heard anything. I get mom a few minutes later and she says they're behind, because it took a while to get my nephew, who was almost one, ready, and my sister got in the shower later than expected. I didn't even know my nephew was coming, and she usually tells me if he is. Her husband was apparently there to let mom in when she showed up, but went back to sleep as soon as she got there. Not sure why he couldn't help get the baby ready, but that's none of my business. I check maps and it says 35 minutes, adding in getting the baby strapped in and secure and putting him either in a stroller or the front carrier on her body. I was looking at 40 minutes. To top it off, we had reservations. She made the reservation, not me. I had never been to this place and didn't know if it was one of those places that didn't let you have your table if your whole group isn't there. There was really no space to wait inside, and I'd have to stand outside. Anyways, I didn't feel like sitting alone for 40 minutes, even if I could. Also, I don't blame you for not wanting to sit at a restaurant table for 40 minutes. The staff's probably gonna be like, "Oh, that lady, man, she's a real bee over there, holding this table when she, reserved it for 5 and now it's freaking 7 or 6 and she's still here." That makes you look, scummy or a jerk. That's how I think people would see it if they work there, because, people come at the time they're reserved. But back to it. She doesn't keep her friends waiting this long when they make plans. I don't get why it's okay to do this to me and mom. I'm speaking to mom as they're trying to change the reservation online. At that point, I was fed up. I agree with you. I don't see why she should do this to you. I know why, because you're family and she thinks you won't, call her on her BS, or you won't, get angry at her because, you're family. But the friends are different. If we agree to be there at a certain time, be there. 5 or 10 minutes late is fine, but not this. I told mom I was going back home and didn't feel like fuming at the table, and acting like I wasn't mad when they got there, as I had done before. She sounded hurt and mad, but she said fine, that she would go home too. Since then, I haven't spoken to my sister. It's been a few weeks, and mom doesn't want to get in the middle, but I told her I wasn't speaking to her until I get an apology. Mom told her she can't keep doing this on the ride back home, and she agrees it's an issue, but won't say much else. It's ridiculous just always being late because you're bad at time management. She also wants to use the "it takes long to get the baby ready" excuse, which I would accept if it wasn't for the fact that this has been a problem long before my nephew was born or even a thought. So, am I the beehole? Hi, OP. No, you are not the beehole, and I've said it before in a story before that has to do with time management. I hate being late, and I hate people being late. And I agree with you in a story, 5 to 10 minutes, but please call me, because if I'm there for, honestly, longer than 10, I'm probably gonna leave, because you obviously are, rude. It's just not right, and she knows it's not right because she doesn't do this to her friends. I believe you did the right thing in going home instead of sitting there and fuming like you said, because that's no way to enjoy a meal, pissed off, And yeah, she does owe you an apology, but I think even if she apologizes, it's not going to change. It just seems like that's just the way she is. If I were you, you know what? She made the reservations. She should know that, you know what I mean? You think she'd make the reservation at a time that she'd be perfectly able to get to. So she's just doing it on purpose. OP, yeah, you're not the beehole. Personally, I would just stop doing this. Just seems like a waste of time and gas. And our next one comes from Fresh Start with Kids. Am I the beehole for moving my kids because of my ex's legal trouble? My ex-girlfriend Jen, a 34-year-old female, and I, a 35-year-old male, have two kids together, 8 and 6. We never married and broke up about 3 years ago. We had court order split custody, and for the most part, co-parented well together. Things were going pretty well until last year. Jen was charged with felony financial fraud. Earlier this year, she was convicted and sentenced to 24 to 30 months in prison. With good behavior, she'd probably be out in about 18 months. When we found out she was pregnant with our second child, she pushed me to move closer to her family so that she can be closer to her support system. I agreed despite my concerns about having to find a new job and the COL being higher, but we made it work. I have a good job here, but I'm lonely and stressed with the two kids. Before Jen's trial, I had petitioned the court for full custody and was granted. Jen's family helps when they can, but they aren't my favorite people, and we don't always get along well. After some conversations with my family, I decided to move closer to them to try to get a fresh start. I'll be moving about 1,200 miles from where we currently live. I informed Jen about this, and the last time I took the kids to visit her, she was not happy and had some choice words with me. Her family is also tearing into me about this. They are threatening to sue me for grandparents' rights, which aren't really a thing in this state. They are also accusing me of parental alienation for taking the kids away from their mother. They are convinced that Jen will be out in 18 months, and that isn't too long in the grand scheme of things, and isn't worth taking the kids away. Especially since after Jen gets out, she'll have restrictions on travel that will make it harder for her to see the kids. I do feel a little conflicted about it, but I know I'm going to do the best thing for me with this decision. I also believe it'll be better for the kids to go to a school where other kids don't know their mom is in prison. Yeah, that helps. Kids are little monsters, little goblin creatures, and they see a tiny little bit of weakness, they will get in there and destroy you. So yeah, get them away from that. Good move. I have cleared all of this with my lawyer, and he assured me that I'm doing everything by the book, and that since I have full custody and Jen is currently incarcerated, she has no legal standing to try and stop me. He also said the grandparents' right thing has about a 1% chance of even getting in front of a judge. I have had to threaten Jen's parents with cutting them off if they don't stop pressuring me to stay. The whole situation is a mess, and my poor kids are stuck in the middle. I'm trying to do the best thing for them in the long run. Even in the short term, it's going to be hard. I understand why Jen and her family are upset, but at the same time, she got herself into this situation. I do feel bad for her, but also, you're a felon now, Jen. What the hell did you think was going to happen? OP? I agree with you. You need to do what's right for you and those kids, and getting them away from their felon mother and her family, who I imagine aren't great people to be around. They might start putting stuff in those kids' heads to turn them against you, and big up Jen. They seem like the people who would do that. Plus, you gave it a shot and moved over there to help her. Screw that. It's your turn now. Get out of there, man. And like you said, get them away from the felon mother. Take those kids somewhere where they can have a good life. Yeah, being a single parent's gonna suck for a while, but once you get through that hard part, it's gonna be pretty cool. So I'm gonna say you're not the beehole, and you have seemed to have dodged a bullet, kind of with the. Yeah, no, you have. You have full custody, so you don't have to give her any money that way, and you are not married, so you don't have to give her any money when you divorce. I hope wherever you go, you find a good woman who loves you and loves your kids, and you get a nice family, man, because you deserve it. Because you messed up. I'm not gonna lie, picking that one, but I hope you can get it together in the end. Again, you are not the beehole. And our final one comes from Party Ferret 6280. Am I the beehole for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because she wouldn't give me any money and called me a burden? I have a sister, Sandra. Years ago, she lost her job and was homeless. I was only more than happy to help. I gave her a lot of money and asked her to live in my house, rent-free, free food. She could have lived there permanently. Oh man, you sound like a saint. I also gave her additional money every month. She got a good job later and moved out. A year after that, I fell into trouble, and I was homeless. I asked Sandra for help. Not only did she say I'm unwelcome to stay at her house, as it would be a burden, she also refused to give me any money. I now have a good job as earlier. Sandra is now having her wedding and invited me. All of us congratulated her, except for me. I said I'm not attending. She got mad. I said I do not want to be with anyone who is as ungrateful. She began to yell at me, and others agreed with her in that I'm in the wrong, since I'd said that she does not have to return the money when I helped her. Am I the beehole? Hi, OP. No, you are not the beehole. You know what? She is well within her right to tell you no, but you were well within your right to not attend her wedding. And I wouldn't go either. What a cold, miserable bee. How are you gonna, cast aside the person who was there for you and like when you hit rock bottom, homeless? And they let you into their home, fed you for free, you didn't have to pay bills. Like, did she do anything to help around the house? Clean? Like, if that was me, I'd clean, have food cooked. You better believe that house would be perfect in condition. And then when you're down on your luck, you go to the person who you really helped out a ton. You went above and beyond. And she just says, oh, no, you're a burden. Bye. Figure it out. Like, how up is that? Jeez. So no, OP, you are not the beehole. I wouldn't want to go to that person's celebration after they were so blatantly, like, evil. Again, OP, not the beehole. Thank you for making it to the end of the video with me. And can you please do what I said in the beginning? And like, comment, and subscribe. It really and truly does help the channel out. It helps it grow, and it helps to get more videos like this. Velvet out.